In a heated live television debate, Nigel Farage fiercely interrupted a guest who dared to defend the Labour Party amidst the ongoing migrant crisis. His brutal retort left the guest momentarily speechless, showcasing Farage's determination to dominate the conversation. This clash has sparked widespread discussion about the effectiveness of current immigration policies.
Crucially, very little processing of asylum claims was taking place. Because bear in mind, you're dealing with raw numbers, the numbers crossing. Yeah. I'm not excusing that, but the reality is that those people are claiming asylum and they have to be processed under the law. And many of them will not qualify. By implication, you were suggesting...
But they won't get deported. I mean, the average level of deportations of those that cross the Channel is about 2%.
Recently, but in the past that was not the case.
Well, the Labour government that you were part of, David Blunkett was Home Secretary, people that came illegally were deported.
Exactly.
There were no arguments.
And there's no reason why that should not happen again. But there's a huge backlog. There's a huge backlog of cases that has to be dealt with because, and I apologise for making what appears to be a party political point, but the Conservative government deliberately slowed down the rate of processing.
Well, look, we had a plan.
Hang on a second, just quickly, Quasi, before you come in. Whether you process quickly or not doesn't stop the flow of those crossing the Channel, unless you start deporting. And, you know, I pay full credit to the way that Blunkett and Blair dealt with this, going back to 2003.
Well, that has to happen again.
But the ECHR has changed, the British judiciary has changed, and that's the root of the problem.
That's the root of the problem. It's a completely different world. From 20 years ago. We've got activists. I mean, I discussed on this programme the fact that they said, in extraordinary cases, the percentage of extraordinary cases was 30%. Yeah. I mean, how can that be sensible? And the other thing I would say is that we've forgotten something here. I mean, we had a plan, the Rwanda plan, which was scrapped by this government. Now, people said, Rwanda's got all sorts of problems. But there was evidence latterly that it was a deterrent. Now, you can say how ridiculous the plan is, but at the moment, they got rid of the Rwanda plan, but they haven't substituted it with anything else. And as far as Smash the Gangs is concerned,
it's laughable.
I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the policy is to smash those gangs. I mean, you might know, but I don't know.
Well, hang on. You can, I mean, whenever Starmer makes a speech about this, he talks about going back to source to try and find where the boats are coming from, where they're being stored, to go down the chain that leads to people coming in this direction. But Jeff, the problem with Smash the Gangs, it's rather like saying, let's declare a war on drugs, that even if you catch every single person in that chain, the financial rewards are so great that more people come and plug the gap. And I put it to you that one of the reasons why people will continue to come is you get put in a nice house or a hotel, you get 3 square miles a day, you get free dental care, free medical care, you're allowed to roam freely. It's pretty easy to work illegally and get cash as well, despite the pocket money that you give. And when you see case after case, and these are not made-up stories, but when you see this particular example, just today's example, of somebody coming in and he's come in from Africa, he's got child abuse videos on his phone, but the judge says, well, we're going to spare you prison because, if you go back to Yemen, they might force you to fight for the Houthis. And we see, frankly, I think for ordinary folk looking at this, just abuse after abuse after abuse, all in the name of the Human Rights Act of 1998, incorporating the European Convention.
But that is why it is necessary to deport people promptly once a process of determining their claim.
But the judge doesn't let you.
Place.
But the judge doesn't let you. In this case, the judge didn't allow the deportation.
The judge had that information before her. I think it was a lady judge. Yeah. Now, the reality is it is a matter for a judge in that situation to make a decision, but not a matter for politicians.
No, but the issue is if the judges are making decisions not to deport, then you can try and deport as many people as you want. Yeah. But if the judiciary are saying, no, you can't deport them, then you're stuffed.
And in the case of Rwanda, when the aeroplane was on the tarmac, it was a judge at 10 p.m. in Strasbourg. So we've got ourselves in a little...
You can't do this.
I don't doubt that when you incorporated the human rights, the European Convention of Human Rights, into UK law, it was done with the best of intentions. But it's now becoming a barrier.
We all strongly believe in democracy, but we also strongly believe in the rule of law. We cannot have a situation in which politicians decide judicial matters. That is a matter for judges.
What happened to the sovereignty?
It's a matter for their interpretation.
But what happened to the sovereignty of Parliament? I know you're a recovering lawyer, or you've had some sort of legal studies in your background. I checked, and that's the problem we've got actually. Is because, in a way, we've substituted the rule of Parliament for the rule of judges, and that balance has got to be redressed.
And Parliament can change the law.
I was about to make precisely that point. And moreover, the law as it exists at the moment was passed by a sovereign Parliament. And that was passed by a democratically elected government. And those two things go
that
together.
Was 1990.
There's an abundance of social housing for all.
Yeah, I mean, what he actually said there, Martin, is it beggars belief. It's beyond belief, actually. The man is totally delusional. He needs to get out of this place more and go and spend some time in places like I showed, in the real world, where we've got 6,000 people on the council house waiting list, people sofa surfing, some people street homeless. Our hostels are chock-a-block. This man is absolutely clueless. Come and speak to some real people in the real world, you know, and to sit there in front of his own chair, actually, a Labour Party member, Meg Hillier, she's the chair of that committee, and actually come out with that nonsense. She must be secretly walking away from that meeting yesterday, shaking her head and think, my goodness, what kind of Prime Minister have we got in this country?
And it comes after a cabinet meeting today when Angela Rayner, the deputy leader, warned, according to reports, the cabinet that economic insecurity, rapid deindustrialisation